Welcome and thank you for coming again to the second of our SpringSide Chats. I think I know everyone in the room, but I'm John Peterson from the Arlington Institute. And at the Arlington Institute, we have two kind of forums for presentations. We have one that we call TAI Presents, where we have outside speakers of some note. And I even included myself once in a series of kind of presentations that we make on different subjects that are related to the future. And then we've had more recently these brief, essentially by invitation only presentations, mostly around the economic situation. And Dr. David Martin has kindly agreed to come and be with us here again. I want to thank Andrew, where are you, Andrew? Andrew Gosline, for this very nice place to allow us to all come and be here today. And Andrew has kindly provided some wine and drinks and some cheese and other kinds of things in the back room. So if you're, when we're all finished here, please come and partake. I have an interesting thing that happens. It happened again this morning to me. I got an email from somebody. In fact, I got one today, got one yesterday, and they said, God, you're so prescient. You were spot on in terms of the economic situation. And, you know, last week, every place I went, I was in Minneapolis, and before that I was in Oklahoma City, and both times people came up to me and said, man, how does it feel to be so good when it's so bad outside, you know? And all about talking about this economic situation. And what I can tell you is that in general, the only reason I know anything about this is because Dave Martin I've been here and talked about it, and he's gotten us interested in these issues, and I've of course read up a little bit and tried to stay current. But the main impressions that came out of all of this is that almost 2.5 years ago, Dave Martin first gave a presentation and laid out month for month what was going to happen starting in December of last year and working its way into this year, and with slight variation. And who anticipated, of course, that this present administration was going to hijack the national treasury for $700 billion and try to hang the whole thing on the general public. But I mean, there were some things that weren't anticipated, but nevertheless, the essential nature of the whole thing was first, perhaps one of the first ones in the world or in the country, were first laid out by David. And so we're happy to have him back again. Dave is the founder and the executive chairman of MCAM, and they are one of the foremost intellectual property assessments and insurance and analytical firms in the world, and have their pulse on the financial situation in ways that very, very few other people in the world have. And so we're happy to have you with us again, Dr. David Martin. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
We thought we'd start, and my name is Stu Rose, and my partner, Drew and Duncan, and we thought we'd actually start with you, and just go around very quickly and just do a quick introduction, name, and then there's a lot of stuff going on with the economy, locally, globally. What would you love to hear answered? I mean, any question, anything goes. And I'd like to make a list of all the questions, which would give David a sense of where we're coming from, kinds of questions, and then we'll put these sheets up, and then turn it right over to you. Tom Stewart. Okay. Big special question, something would you like to hear an answer to? Where is Russia in the world? So where is Russia in the world today?
A short maritime border across from Alaska. From over there.
Yeah, she. Okay.
My name is Sam Marshall, and I'm wondering about the market gyration down 778 yesterday, up 453 today. Very bad.
Do you want to know which days to buy and which days to
Back off.
Oh,
John Douglas, I wondered how long this cycle would be.
How long would the cycle be? Like all the settling stops and trauma? Yeah. Okay.
Samantha Redston, what's your take on Congress and the Senate not passing that foolish financial bolstering thing? And are they going to maybe come up with a smart idea?
I'm Carol.
I picked up a slight amount of pessimism.
Subtle.
No, it's probably real.
Thank you. Carol Reese. I don't have a question right now.
Ken Dabkowski. I'd like to talk a little bit about how to empower yourself. There are ways you can empower yourself and insert yourself into positions that can have some impact.
I'm Sherry Beck, and I'm interested in some quality information sources to help us sort through all the noise that's out there.
You need a second to catch up?
Close.
We're good.
Gat Caperton. I always find with big trends that there's often a small counter trend, and I always want to kind of pay attention as we talk about what's happening here, that what would be kind of counterintuitive that's also simultaneously going on.
Jim Wilson. My interest would be, are treasuries a safe haven currently for money market funds?
Our treasury is safe.
Safe.
Yeah.
Safe haven.
Yeah. Our treasury is safe havens.
Jean Mosier, and I'm with GAT. I want to know where the money's to be made as the world falls apart.
Stephen Trevino.
Wait, one second.
Stephen Trevino, and as we see the sunset of the old paradigm economy, what's your vision, David, for the new economy featuring these uncorrelated intangible assets?
I'm Bob Margraf, and I'm interested to hear how you think we might be able to implement the solution that you're proposing here in the paper.
Eric Best. In the beginning, I wanted to ask, what do you make of I think BIS has 570 trillion notional value of structured credit out there in the world. What's the so what of that number? That's what I wanted to ask, but then I changed my mind.
We can still work with that one.
But so I'm not really asking that. But the other.
She didn't have one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm
the notional value
of
the BIS outstanding credits. Yeah.
But the other question is, if you look back at the history of financial crisis, we've had terrible crises, and we've always come out the other side. And so I'm interested in sort of what you would see as the amplitude and the period on both sides.
Yep.
How quick out, how far down, how long, what's the logic of that?
My name's Emily Best, and I want to know about your take on consensus building in such a politically charged environment.
Stephen Loving, and I'd be interested to hear your views on built-in insurance mechanisms to prevent things like this from happening.
And I'm John Peterson, and I want to know how bad it gets and how long it lasts.
I'm Tom May, and I'd like to find out where's the next step.
I'm Diane May. I have two questions. One is, what happens if OPEC changes the currency? And the other is, what effect does China have with our retail, and how does that all interrelate?
Tom Rakitsky, and I I would like to know who's going to be the biggest beneficiary of the proposed $700 billion bailout, Wall Street, Main Street, or the foreign investor.
Roger Salen, we talk in terms of billions of dollars now, $10 billion a month in Iraq, $700 billion here. When does it stop and or where does it come from?
My name is Karen Reagan, and I'm going to listen intently and perhaps have a question later.
You can borrow one of the other questions.
Eric is selling options on future questions right now.
I'm Sally Berman, and I'm interested in your scenario, is the whole world going to be going down the same path, or are there certain areas in the world that are going to be more less involved in all this?
If you had, I'm Jerry Berman. If you had either Senator Obama or John McCain or both of them here today, how would you persuade them that your solution is the right solution, or that the bailout is the wrong way to go?
My name is Abby Porter, and what are the chances of the government issuing a new currency anytime soon? And there's been rumors of states wanting to succeed, and what's that possibility?
Elise Woods, what would be the most important thing to focus on in our local economy, given all that's going on?
I'm Colleen Martin, and I live with this gentleman, so it's very interesting to hear all these questions. And I'm interested in seeing what the collective consciousness of the group can come with together.
Andrew Gosling. David, at your last talk, you saw a fourth quarter collapse, pretty much, financial collapse, with China being a big factor in it. I'm curious if you still see that.
Anybody else have one they'd like to add in? Ventriloquist?
One other.
Okay,
It's just going to be on the basis of retirees and people that can't necessarily engage in the workforce but do other things. What suggestions you might have, since a lot of their portfolios are at least under attack at the moment, and what options they might have moving forward.
You already have a mic.
I do have a mic.
Yeah, just put it on the table. If anybody has another question, just use the mic. That goes to a camera.
Good judgment that comes in the form of the lovely young lady with whom I've been married for the last 21 years actually convinced me not to start tonight wearing my V costume that I got for Halloween. And I had the hat and the mask and the cape and the black and everything else, and I was going to suggest that we start with the recitation of Remember, Remember, the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Now, I wanted to do that and then go into the vicissitudes of venial vicissitudes like V did in that wonderful moment with Natalie Portman. But you'll have to imagine me in my V costume. It was actually very striking. I'm not wearing it. She has good judgment. I don't. As evidenced by the fact that I'm actually going to stand here and make a rather ridiculous statement to say that I believe we can actually touch almost every one of these questions tonight. And I think that we can touch it in a way that hopefully matches one of the artistic elements that I would like to call into our consciousness in this room right now, and that is the tapestry. Because there's more in that tapestry than merely an observation of a beautiful piece of artwork. And there's more about